Well, hey Keybladers! Welcome to another episode of Kingdom Hearts Book of Dawn, BOD BTS. I'm your host, Leland Riley, and on this episode of The Director's Choice, we're talking all about special effects. Stay tuned!
It's a selfie stick!
Oh! We're cool! Where's my...
Special effects, visual effects, or virtual effects, or VFX, are all terms for the really cool stuff that we do with computer-generated graphics, or CGI. It has a bunch of names. It has a bunch of different titles. VFX artist, and animators are technically sometimes also attributed as being VFX artist or special effects artist. Bunch of titles, bunch of words, but all of it is cool stuff that isn't actually happening, that is digitally created for you. And there is a lot of that in Kingdom Hearts Book of Dawn. It is a fantasy series with summoning Keyblades, with Heartless, and a bunch of other things that throughout the show we've had to computer generate for you to see. Also, I should say, no AI has been used in the making of Kingdom Hearts Book of Dawn. AI is interesting in some aspects, dangerous in others. It is a piece of technology. It is a calculator. As earliest as in school, we learn calculators are only as dumb as the monkey using them. So whatever you use a piece of technology for good or for bad, it is ultimately the human nature of the user that determines the outcome. Now, off of AI, but into human work. And all of the work that I've put into this show as a VFX artist. I am not a professional by any means. And when I started, I knew next to nothing about VFX. How did I learn? Lots of YouTube how-to videos, and also just messing around until I found something with settings that I liked. You can generally do that, and you can generally learn in whatever way that works best for you. If you're a studier, go study. If you like to hear people talk about it, go take classes or watch videos. If you're a doer, do it. Just explore. I am a mix of all different kinds of learning styles, but generally I want to see someone do it and then me do it. And so, tutorial videos and seeing all sorts of different users create different special effects were really how I learned. Because again, I started from nothing. Though I am a college graduate with a theater degree, none of those classes were on special effects with computers. The closest I ever got was in how to design a lighting plot for the stage using computer-generated imagery. That's about it. So using fan projects to really funnel in experience, I learned how to do a lot. Starting back with Oblivion Core, I just was the head editor and head special effects artist. That's just what I did. Like, another member of our cast was the author, another member was in charge of PR and recruiting other people to the show, and it was my job to edit it and to do the special effects. And so working from there and starting being the person who is shooting it and also editing it helps because it's my entire vision of the cinematography executed from start to finish. So for me, I know exactly what I want to do, I know exactly what special effect, I know exactly how I want it to look from beginning to end. Normally that's not how it works unless it's a passion project or a fan thing or a very small production. Usually that's the work of like 3 different people. Usually you have the director who is in charge of saying, okay, this is the vision I want. You have a cinematographer who is in charge of, this is the kind of shot structure I would like. You have storyboard artists who are the ones that are like, this is the entire image of how it wants to go, and they and the cinematographer are usually like buddy-buddy or enemies on how they want a shot to look. And then completely separate from that is the VFX team, which is usually hired after the main production is wrapped to then process the footage. Well, there's editors in there as well, and then it goes to VFX. So there's usually a bunch of different people, and because on these different projects it's just me and my friends, it's just me, and I am one person in charge of the cinematic structure from beginning to end. So, what software do we use for the special effects on Book of Dawn? Adobe After Effects. And I know, that is a loaded kind of situation. Adobe After Effects, if you're unaware, recently all of Adobe products have been wanting to funnel all user data of like the projects you create, all the files, the images, and everything that you encode from it. It funnels it into AI training. So if you don't want your work used by AI, you probably find alternatives, is my only thing I've kind of gathered here. I am not a fan of my likeness or my actors' likenesses being funneled into AI, but at the same time we are having our likeness in a not-for-profit of a recognized video game that we don't own, so I have no real right to like complain about how our footage gets used because I technically don't have rights to it as far as I'm aware. If you know how I can fight AI funneling, let me know down in the comments. But that is to say, I do still use Adobe After Effects for all of Book of Dawn special effects. It is a fairly great program and I enjoy using it. It has a lot of variety and there's a lot of different special effects that you can do. There's a lot of ways that you can accomplish the same effect with different special effects. Now, with as ambitious as this show is, the important thing to remember is that Adobe After Effects, it's a good program. However, the special effects that you create with it can sometimes use up a lot of space on your computer. Here are some tips for if you are looking to use After Effects for special effect work. Number 1, make sure your PC is pretty strong. You don't have to have the top of the line gaming PC for this, but the better your graphics card, the more memory your computer has, and the stronger the processor are all going to help you in the long run. These files, I mean, they're kind of hard to run depending on how many effects you have, how many layers you have open, and how complicated the special effect changes the base footage. All of these take up space on your hard drive. It takes up memory to use and create these images. So please don't give your computer a stroke. I have done this. I have used many different computers for working on Book of Dawn, from library Mac computers to I've tried to use my oldest laptops to use, and those almost got fried just by opening a file. I've also used kind of gaming laptops, gaming PCs, regular PCs. It depends on this kind of strength requirement. The system requirement of each file is different because sometimes I have scenes where I have very few special effects and I can do those on any computer. Sometimes I have scenes where there are over 123 layers. I'm not kidding. Yeah. One of the more recent fight scenes, looking at Chapter 6 and Chapter 8, yeah! Can you guess which fight scene had 128 layers in it? Let me know in the comments. But I've used a ton of different computers, and sometimes I've had to rework my work schedule around having access to those computers because I don't have all the money in the world to afford such a fancy computer. Second, if you are using a computer that's not yours, be aware that your roommates, your partners, or whoever's computer it might be, they might want to use their own computer. Also, one of the funnier things is that when I'm doing special effect work, I lose track of time. I become very time blind, and I have occasionally found myself awake at 8 a.m. my time zone, having just finished something, and I'm like, yeah, I'm so good! And then I look at the time and I'm like, oh, I'm so dead! So please, take care of yourself, and outside of your system requirements, outside of, you know, if it's your computer or not, remember there are tip 2, there are lots of resources out there. Tip 3, take care of yourself, take breaks. If you're like me, definitely take breaks. 3, the simplest way to do a special effect is probably your best bet. That's tip 4. The simplest way to do a special effect is the easiest, because if you're having a scene that has multiple layers on it, your computer, your hard drive will thank you for making its job simpler. Tip 5, which is a really important one, consistently clear the cache in the computer. Because as you have After Effects open, it is going to continually re-render things, and it is going to take up storage space. The maximum, I think the default maximum, is 93 gigabytes. And you might think, oh, 93 gigs, that'll take a while. No, it doesn't. If you leave After Effects open on your computer with a file open and you haven't touched it or you are working on it, 93 gigs fills up in like an hour. At least for me. So make sure you remember to, you know, under Edit, go to Purge, and go to Clear Your Cache. Your computer will thank you. Tip 6. Make sure that you're rendering your videos in the proper format, because sometimes you can have little kind of digital aberrations happening if you're not rendering it in the proper kind of desired outcome. So for me, I use H.64 as the general default, and I kind of modify a couple things. You know, render at max depth, max render quality, which just helps keep things consistent. Be aware of frame rate change, as some different render formats can reduce the frames per second. And if you've ever watched live acted footage that is like drop frame, and it's not great. So take care to make sure that you're keeping consistent with the frame rate that you filmed at for what you're exporting it as. Because if that changes, you're going to have a bad time. I think that's about it. That's 6 basic tips for using After Effects. So hopefully this helps you guys on your journey of special effects. So until next time, like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that little bell for notifications so you stay tuned on everything that we have in store for you. And until next time, that's a wrap. Later, Keybladers.